Hey, I want to give you something that God gave me. I was going through something difficult recently, and He gave me something to focus on that totally calmed all my fears. Let me read to you the story where this came from. Sorry, I gotta go back now. I was looking at another story that correlated with it, and maybe I'll give you a little bit of that one too. This is when Jesus calms the storm. Then he got into the boat, and his disciples followed him. Suddenly, there was a furious storm that came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us. We're going to drown." He replied, "You have little faith. Why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. So notice the contrast of the big giant waves and the wind. And that's what the disciples were focused on. And they had big giant fears and felt like they were going to drown. Just like us, how we feel like we are overwhelmed. Lord, do you care if I drown? He does care. Look at what Jesus was focused on. He was focused on their feelings. Why are you so afraid? And he was focused on the size of their faith. Little faith. It's not the size of the storm. It's the size of your faith that God cares about. If you need to go through this big storm in order to learn that He is sovereign even here, then that is how you will grow your faith. It's not the size of the storm that you're going through. It's the size of your faith while you're growing through it. Notice how Jesus was sleeping. That's the goal, isn't it? If we could sleep through the storm. This is meaningful to me because I recently had a few nights where I just could not sleep. I was so concerned about something, and there was a lot of wind and a lot of waves, and I was worried about the outcome, and I felt completely overwhelmed. And as an analogy, you could say the waves were crashing over the side of the boat, and I felt like I was going to drown, and I couldn't handle it. And so I cried out, "Lord, save me." And He did. And He showed me that the things that I was so afraid of weren't going to happen. And in fact, what was happening at the time wasn't even the way I saw it. It wasn't even the truth of what was really happening. So let me give you an example. When Mary had to go to Bethlehem, we were going to have Christmas in a little bit. When Mary was going to Bethlehem and she went into labor, imagine how she must have been feeling when she started having contractions and she didn't have a midwife, and in fact she didn't even have a hotel room. She didn't have a bed. She didn't have a place to have this baby, she thought. But 2,000 years later, we would sing about a baby who was born in a stable. And where else would a lamb be born than in a stable? God had it covered. She didn't need to be afraid. And you don't need to be so afraid either. And neither do I, because God can handle the storm. He's not concerned with the size of the storm. He's concerned with the size of your faith.